Vrindavan didn't even perceive them in the beginning. They were so absorbed in their blissful pastimes with Krishna, and it didn't even get dark there because Krishna was effulgent, Vrindavan is so effulgent, the cows are so effulgent, even the houses were so effulgent, Yamuna is so effulgent, Govardhan is so effulgent. So they didn't see any darkness, and they were totally carefree. But then all of a sudden it started raining very heavily. And the cows, first of all, became very disturbed. They didn't know that it became very cold also and very windy, so they started shivering and they tried to protect the little calves. And very quickly big pools of water were created everywhere. They couldn't distinguish where's water, where's land. And then big hailstorms came, like rockets, these hailstorms. And the big, wonderful bulls they had there, they were very prominent renowned, these very beautiful bulls. They were actually bombed with these hail grains, and they disassembled and became like little pearls on the ground. And they became very disturbed, very angry, and they looked at the sky, what is going on there. So also the coward man became very concerned at this point, because there's a big flood coming, and obviously this is the revenge of King Indra. It's totally out of season. And what have we done now? How will we save ourselves? Let's ask Krishna, because they're pure devotees. So immediately they ran to Krishna and said, what should we do? Please give us a solution. We are confident you can tell us what to do. Because this is disturbing our pleasure here, and there's danger for the cows. Because we know once you save the cows, and the cows also looking at you because you were saving them from the big forest fire once. So they are looking at you, Krishna, now, to please save them. They're tolerating him, but they are looking at you, what to do now. So Krishna said, don't be afraid, this is nothing, it's just some rain. Don't get into anxiety. I will take care of that. This is not a big problem, just some rainfalls. We can do something about it. So, in a matter of just a few seconds, he simply stretched out his hand, and in a few seconds he just easily lifted the Govardhan, just like a child picks a mushroom. So easily that it went so fast he could hardly recognize what's going on. And he held it over them like a big, wonderful umbrella. And while he was lifting the Govardhan hill, there was a big uproar coming because it's a huge mountain. 5,000 years ago was even bigger than today. Today it's how long? Maybe 30 miles, something very big, very compact, red, wonderful, holy Govardhan stone, and all these animals on the top mountain, and all these caves and rocks and trees and everything. And he just lifted it in such a short time up. And it was rising up like the second Mount Sumeru. At that time, Govardhan had big peaks also, big peaks. And they were practically piercing through the clouds, and the clouds were crying in distress because it was piercing them. And they were very much afraid what is going on now. And also the different other mountains, Mount Sumeru, thought, what is going on? There's another mountain rising above us, what is going on? Mount Meru also was very confused. The earth was shaking, and there was a big sound produced. And it was going to the end of the universe, and it was interrupting the meditation of Brahma and the other devas. And many other effects were produced. But the coward boys and the inhabitants of Vrindavan hardly felt anything. They just saw that he's lifting that mountain. They were very surprised. And there were flowers falling down from Mount Govardhan by the arrangement of Krishna. And these fall of the flowers, they resemble the laughing of Govardhan. It's like the laughing of Govardhan. Because Govardhan hill was not at least disturbed, because he's totally unmovable. Nobody can move him, not even great rishis, nobody. But they were surprised. This unmovable object is moved by the hand of Krishna, little boy Krishna. It's very soft lotus, and he just moves it up like that to prove who he is. So then, Ali, they were very surprised, and Krishna told them that here Govardhan is inviting you because I'm a little boy, I cannot lift that hill. But by his own mercy, I told you he's special, he's just floating in the air. See, that even a child like me, I can touch him and it looks like I'm lifting him up. But he's floating on his own energy. Of course Krishna was lifting him, but he didn't want to disturb their relationship and seeing him as a child. And they didn't want them to get in anxiety and confusion about all this. Because they're very simple-hearted. And they just wanted to love Krishna and protect him. So he told them it's just floating on his own. So please everyone come. He's inviting you, like everything is resting in Narayan. He's not different from Narayan. He can accommodate you all. And when they looked, they saw a big valley there underneath the hill, huge valley. And they saw that valley easily can accommodate all the inhabitants of Vrindavan and all the clouds. And there's even extra space there. So bring all your belongings or whatever you have, take it out of the house, and take all your children and the cows and the calves and just have a good time now. We are now invited to this special celebration under the Govardhan hill. So they all moved there very happily with Krishna. And Krishna was in the middle, standing on the elevated spot, holding Govardhan hill with his left hand actually. His left hand, outstretched left hand. And they were not only there, was just not just like on a construction place, a big hole in the ground, but there were big fields there with barley and other grains and fresh green grass. It was very beautiful, the abode of Govardhan. And there were many nice lakes filled with crystal clear water so the cows could drink and eat and everyone had a good time there. And while Govardhan hill was lifted up, also earth was falling down from the hill on the sides, and it was building a big dam, like a big boundary wall, so that none of the floods could actually enter inside. So it was like a spiritual world within Govardhan hill. And so Krishna, he was simply holding up the hill, and they were all grouping around him. So Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, his brother, they were facing Krishna. And Balaram was also facing Krishna. The cowherd boys were standing with Krishna at his side, wanting to share fun with him and also encourage him, because they have Sakya Rasa. They want to encourage him and make jokes with Krishna. At one point, Batu, that's the name of Madhumanga, he tried to joke with Krishna to inspire him, keep holding, because he was the hero. So he said, you know, because he saw that Mother Yashoda was in big anxiety, Krishna hasn't eaten and holding this, no, he must have pain in his arm or something. So he was joking that, you know, you don't know Mother Yashoda, why are you so much in anxiety? You don't know that I'm a big Brahmana, it's just by my mystic potency, he can lift that hill, so you don't have to worry about anything. So Mother Yashoda became a little angry, and she said, what are you talking about? You're making jokes. But he hasn't eaten for many days, so there was almost like a quarrel. And Nanda Maharaj said, no, he's doing his duty, you must encourage him. And don't you see how Krishna is enjoying? He's smiling also, and he doesn't perspire or anything. So he'll be alright, and so this is just, we know Krishna is wonderful, he can do whatever he wants. So somehow it's working by the mercy of Govardhan hill. And see how much fun Krishna is having us. So then Madhumanga said, why don't you just, if you're tired, just give me that hill for some time. I will hold it by my own Brahmanic thoughts, you know, just hold it up a little bit. And then also the older cowherd men, they started to become a little bit in anxiety, develop a little anxiety, and they held up their golden sticks to hold the Govardhan up to help Krishna. And Krishna was smiling and saying, you're just scratching the hill, it's not needed also. Because it's floating on its own. Why are you in anxiety? You know, a child like me cannot hold this. It's just floating there. But I enjoy it so much. Let's have more fun. So then, to reassure them even more, while he was holding with his left hand, he took the flute and started to play flute with his right hand. Very sweet way. So all the gopis became very enchanted also. But at that time, when the gopis looked at him, especially Srimati Radharani, Krishna started to tremble in ecstasy. So then Madhumanga said, we're a little worried, you know, because when they all look at you, then you will lose your equilibrium and maybe We have seen before, especially when you play the flute. This flute can do miracles, so better don't play the flute. Because by this flute play, everyone gets an ecstasy, and you may also start to shiver, and then maybe the mountain will drop. And sometimes we see also that the jewels and the rocks, they start melting. What happens if this Govardhan hill starts melting? No? You know, then we'll all slide down, we'll all be finished. You know, so how can you play the flute? You better think twice. But then Nanda Maharaj said, no, it's so nice, don't you hear? Nothing will happen. And then Madhumam will say, yeah, I remember actually that whenever it happens, it's totally in control and only auspicious results come. When my wonderful friend Krishna, he plays the flute. And let's just enjoy it and just forget all our anxiety. It's so beautiful. So for them, the whole 7 days were like 7 minutes only, or 7 hours. But for Indra, it was like 700 years. He had so much anxiety. Because at one point, after the 3rd or 4th day, he started coming to see what's going on. When he thought everything is strong, now they're all dead. I feel sorry. And he saw that this was a falchion, and Govardhan Hill looked very happy there, as happy as never before, because he was touched by the transcendental lotus hand of Krishna. He didn't feel any pain by the hailstorm and the rain and the thunderbolts constantly striking his body. But he looked like he had an abhishek, certainly. And he was even more beautiful than before. And the big lions on top of Govardhan Hill in the beginning, when they saw these big clouds coming, hovering about, they saw there were some elephants and they started to attack them and bite them. So the clouds were running here and there, very afraid of the lions also. And by the big clouds, they became very exhausted. You know. But still, Indra came and said, what are you doing here? They're just having a big festival there and it looks very nice for them. And so you must bring more water. You go to the ocean and bring more water. You know. And I want a big wind to come, the biggest wind in the universe. And it should just move Govardhan Hill away. It should just blow him away. So the winds and hurricanes came and tried their best, and they couldn't even move Govardhan 1 inch even. The Govardhan Mountain Puja. They couldn't even move 1 grain, it is said, from the Govardhan by the arrangement of Krishna. And Govardhan felt more and more inspired, and he felt new spiritual energy because Krishna's breath was also touching him. While Krishna was speaking and joking and playing the flute, he felt the transcendental wonderful smell of Krishna's breath touching him like a fresh breeze. So he was totally in ecstasy in this pastime. And Indra, he totally angry now. At this point, he wanted to keep fighting. The clouds wanted to give up, but he said, now he lost completely his mind. He became so angry and wanted to fight on. So he said, bring water from the oceans, do anything you can, but we must defeat them. So there was a network of lightning streaking the sky, and more thunderbolts coming, and more water was brought from the ocean, coming actually in waves, like tidal waves, coming all the way from the ocean to Vrindavan. But then it was broken by this big wall of mud, and it was going uphill, and they couldn't do it. Somehow they couldn't enter that transcendental boat on the Govardhan Hill. So then Krishna was very happy, and the clouds, they became totally exhausted. And in fact, they from all the work of trying to bring water over and flying here and there, they became so exhausted that they thought they were dying. They were afraid that they were dying, giving up their life. So out of fear of their master, they were going on, but they were practically fainting. And so there's no chance we can defeat them. There's no chance. So then they paid their obeisances to him and said, we give up, either we'll die or we'll keep going, but it is no use. We're not getting ahead even one little bit. So then Indra, he kind of understood, I'm defeated now, and so on the 8th day, everything became very bright and pleasing, and the clouds disappeared. And Indra was trying to hide somewhere. He was totally defeated and humiliated. And the Devas were actually coming all assembling in the sky, and they blessed Govardhan Hill. And they were starting to pray to Krishna. But Krishna, first of all, he told the cowards, now everything is over, see the rain, there was a very nice festival we had there, and everyone was very happy, had a good time with Krishna. And in fact, the cows became so attached to Krishna because all the time they were seeing his beauty. They became very attached that they didn't want to leave. But Krishna and the cowboys asked the cows to go out, so they were running like arrows, shooting out of Govardhan, hundreds of thousands of cows. Then they thought, oh, we are missing Krishna, so they all came running back and looked at Krishna again. So then Krishna told them, come on. Now we have more pastimes outside here because I have to put down Govardhan here. So then they all walked out and they went back to their houses, and even the houses were not damaged or destroyed. They were all washed nice, clean by the rain. And all the leaves and all the broken trees, they sprouted again, and they had new, fresh, even more beautiful leaves. And so Vrindavan manifested again as all of its ever fresh beauty. And they were all happy. What a wonderful pastime it was. So that was a very beautiful pastime. And while they were there also, they were all marveling at the beauty of Krishna, how nice he is, because Krishna was moving in one direction, but each one of the devotees of Krishna is simply just looking at him, simply looking at him personally. And Krishna was looking at everyone personally, also inspiring everyone there. So that is the intimate, loving relationship between devotees and Krishna. They cannot be compared to any other relationship we can have. And that's unique. So by remembering this and hearing about this, we can get an idea of the differences between karma-kanda activities and worshipping some personality, great personalities in this world, and worshipping that supreme transcendental Lord, Narayana, Krishna, the origin of Narayana. So it's very, very sweet pastime. And it helps us to take shelter of Krishna in our heart and find peace and happiness there. Krishna is our shelter. He's the controller of everything. And he is the all-attractive personality of Godhead, the embodiment and source of all the most divine love that we are looking for. So then they all came out, and Krishna simply, was a little movement of his left hand, he just threw it back to exactly the place where Govardhan Hill had been standing before, and there he was. And Govardhan Hill looked even more beautiful than before. He looked very beautiful during the whole pastime, and after that he looked so peaceful and happy and rejuvenated. So there's no danger and no anxiety in this world that can touch pure devotees of Krishna. So let's make it our goal and give our heart and soul to try to become pure devotees. It's a very high goal. It's a small thing, but what you obtain for that is actually Krishna's service, eternal service, Krishna's eternal association. So that we can celebrate, actually these pastimes are always going on, and by celebrating this place also is because Krishna is worshipped here every day. We sing the glories of Krishna, and the managers always have to depend on Krishna also. So it's an ongoing pastime, so this is also like Vrindavan, and when we remember that pastime, it is mentioned that when we remember the glories of Govardhan and hear about Govardhan Puja celebration, Anakuta celebration, we become free from all calamities in this world, from all miseries in this world that we can see. So that's always remember Krishna and Govardhan and pray for the mercy. And all the problems of this world will not touch us. So also when you do this today, this is also the same celebration. So I'm very happy that you're having it there, and also on that day, Monday, the Govardhan Puja day. I like that very much, so I feel very happy because it's his birthday, it's his celebration day today. So we can do it sometimes for preaching for those who cannot come on Monday. Sometimes it can be done, but it's really nice as we do it the way, because those who are serious and sincere, they will come on that day also participate in the mercy. So all of those of you who came here today, you are very, very fortunate, and I also feel very fortunate that you are doing this thing so seriously and sincerely, and with great happiness and enthusiasm. I simply beg for the mercy of the assembly bodies here, that we can go on celebrating Govardhan Puja year after year, and not just this life, but forever. Thank you very much. So now somebody, you want to make an announcement? Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai!
His Grace Nikhilananda Prabhu ki
Jai!
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much to Nikhilananda Prabhu. So now we will continue and actually do the Govardhan Puja and be part of the